Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are actress Michael Learned and actor-performer Moe Bertran. Four-time Best Actress Emmy Award winner Michael Learned was born in Washington, D.C., the oldest of 6 daughters, and raised on a huge farm in Connecticut. Her father, who was with the State Department, moved the family to Austria, sent Michael to boarding school in England, which is where she fell in love with the theater. She also fell in love and married a fellow actor, Peter Donat. They appeared quite often on stage together. Michael trained at the ACT in San Francisco, has never given up dance class, being on the social circuit, traveling the world, or her acting career, while all the time raising her 3 sons. She's now starring with Kathy Rigby in Steel Magnolias, which will tour all over the United States. Michael, hi.
Hello, Joan.
Tell us about Steel Magnolias.
Finally, we get together. We see each other in dance class all the time. But,
I know.
So
here we are, dance class and at Williams. Our beautician.
William Escalera. We'll give him a credit.
Yeah. So tell us about this role in Steel Magnolias.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's Weezer, which is the Shirley MacLaine part in the movie. I never saw the movie, but I've seen little snippets of it, but I never like to watch a movie if it's something I'm going to be doing because it's hard for me to get that performance out of my head.
So how do you get that performance in your head?
Oh, rehearsal.
Just rehearsal?
But we only had 2 weeks to rehearse this show, so it was kind of a, we had to really push, and it's really a wonderful show.
And tell us what that role is.
She's, the way I see her, she's kind of wacky, and she's very funny, and knows it, and she's also, I guess one of the descriptions in one of the reviews was wickedly sympathetic, which I love, because I also think she has a side of her that's, that big heart that people, whoops, sorry about that. There's a big heart that people have, and sometimes they have to cover it with sarcasm or wit or whatever they do to cover up the fact that they basically have a very soft heart.
So who helps with that, the director? Or
Brian Kite directed it, and he's a marvelous director. And I've worked with him before. I did Driving Miss Daisy with him.
I wondered if you had done that.
Yeah. And I loved working with him. So yeah, sure. We all help each other. It's a community. It's an ensemble play.
Oh, that's the thing with ensemble. Yeah. You are always. Does it mean you're always on stage together, or you're all the same as far as billing goes, or
yeah, we're billed alphabetically, and for publicity purposes, Kathy Rigby and I are more well-known names, but all the actresses in the show are wonderful.
And when you go on tour, will they all go with you? Is that what
sure.
happens?
Well, if we're available, we will, and we hope to, because we're having a blast, and the audiences are having a blast. It's really it's a lot of fun.
How big is the house?
Huge.
Tell us what
I don't know how big
it
is, but it's probably 1,000.
Really?
At least, yeah. It could be more.
What
I'm not
do
sure.
you call?
Because it's a very wide theater.
What's the name of the theater?
The La Mirada Performing Arts Center.
That's right. And that's fairly new, isn't it? A fairly new building, or
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
Is it kind of state of the art, or are you back like your days in England?
Well, my Dickensian school. No, it's a beautiful theater, and the lobby is stunning. It's got a fireplace and couches. I mean, I could live there quite happily.
And you do? You go early?
I do. I go very early, and I take a nap. I do, because of the rush hour, I want to miss it. But and I take my dog Daisy with me, and you didn't get to meet her today.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to have her on your lap.
Some other time.
Okay. So is there a trick to learning these lines? Because I can't remember a dance combination.
Well, neither can I. I mean, I'm always going left when everybody else is going right. But, I started working on this about a month before rehearsals began because we only had 2 weeks. And every play I do now, I'm wondering, is this going to be the play where I realize I can't remember lines anymore? You know? But thankfully, it hasn't been a problem. And I can't believe we got this show up in 2 weeks, and it's really a good show. I'm proud of it. I don't always say that either. I'm very shy about saying things like that, but I love this show.
When I was talking to another actress, she said she still auditions. Do you audition?
You know, I have a terrible time auditioning. I get so nervous. You would think I was performing brain surgery on a baby. But I'm getting better at it. And yes, I do, because everybody does now. Everybody.
Well, Estelle Parsons.
Disgusting.
Estelle Parsons, our friend, said she loves to audition because she likes to hear herself.
Oh, no, I hate it. I get too nervous. And I never know what the hell they want. And, you know, it's like you're trying to give a performance with too little information. But it's okay. I show up. You show up.
That's good. How about your beginnings? How did boarding school change your look on the theater? I mean, you were young. Mm-hmm. Weren't you a teenager?
I was 12.
Oh, you were pretty young.
And I was crying all the time. So they shipped me off to England to boarding school where I cried more.
Was that what, with all
I was
those
miserable.
girls
I was
in
so
the house?
homesick. And the teachers would say, Michael, could you cry a bit more quietly, please? Because I just sobbed all the time. But what it did for me was it was a ballet school. I know. It was, you know, hormones. What it did for me was I went there to dance. It's primarily a ballet school. They finally said, you know, you're not really that good. You're not a very good dancer. And I won the drama cup just by a fluke. I mean, we were doing some Shakespeare and I won. And it was a shock to everybody, but the teachers then said, why don't you specialize in drama, which I then did. And by the way, it is a wonderful school. It just happened that I was terribly homesick.
But it also needs somebody to just put you in the right niche, doesn't it?
It's
somebody who knows.
You know, I do feel that my life has been directed. I really do.
And you were there. Is that where you met your husband?
No. I met Peter. I had met, well, not when I was 12, but
no, but I mean in London.
I met Peter when I was 16 at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival. I was an intern. I was when you play peasants and extras, and I went to the school there that summer. That was the first year with Hurd Hatfield and Raymond Massey and Roddy McDowell and Chris Plummer and Peter Donat, all these wonderful people, and I was 16 and.
Chris Plummer. Then you became the godmother of.
Well, he says he
way
named
after.
Amanda Michael after me. So
yeah. So, but it went way back to those days.
Yes.
Oh wow.
And that's where I met Peter.
And then.
And then I got shipped back to London because we wanted to get married, and my parents said you're too young. So they shipped me back to London. I went to the day school in London. At the same school, but a day school, and then I came home, and Peter and I got married when I was 17.
Was it a problem?
Hitting this table.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry.
Was it a problem?
What?
Because acting on the stage together, like, would you leave your characters at the front door, or?
That is not my cell phone.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Go ahead.
No, it was not a problem. I was not competitive at all with Peter, and it was wonderful because Bill Ball at ACT invited me because he wanted Peter. So he sort of said, "Well, bring her along. I hear she's a pretty good actress," and so we sort of became the leading man and leading lady at ACT, and it was wonderful.
Oh, it was like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, is that about the time when you came down here and started?
Unfortunately, our marriage kind of collapsed, and we were going through a divorce, and I was pretty upset about it. And I came down just because Bill Ball wouldn't confirm whether I'd be back the following season, even though I'd had a wonderful season. So I came down. I thought I better learn the freeways in LA. so that when I arrive at an audition, I don't have water in my shoes from sweat pouring.
We're back to auditioning again.
Yeah, right. So I came down. I stayed at the Hollywoodland Motel for $12 a night. I had a bottle of bourbon and a Raggedy Ann doll, and I cried all the time again.
I love it.
So,
are you crying on the stage in any of your plays?
I do in this one.
You do?
At the end. What Kathy Rigby makes me cry every time, and I try not to because I'm not supposed to, but the tears just fall out.
Oh, this is great.
She's very moving in that last scene. And anyway, so I stayed at that hotel, and my agent had kept saying, "You've got to come down and audition for this show called The Waltons." And I kept saying, "I'm 14 years younger than Patricia Neal. I don't have red hair. I have short blonde hair. I'm 31. So anyway, it was still open when I was here, and he said, "You have to go see about it." So I did, and
so there were all your Emmy Awards, right?
it was amazing.
How
it was
long?
Just amazing. It ran for 10 years, and I was
Wow.
with it for 8.
And they billed you as Miss
Yes.
Michael Learned.
Because I have a boy's name, and I
why
was
do
a
you?
total unknown. I think my parents, people ask me that question all the time, and they've never given me a good answer. I think they were just drunk when they named me.
But do you think I
few
was thinking,
martinis?
I was
why
thinking
not?
they wanted a boy.
No, they had.
They
They
had all
did-
those girls.
They hadn't given up. I was number 1, so they hadn't given up yet.
Oh.
No, my sisters are Gretel, Susan, Sabre, Dorrit, and Philippa, and I have a half-brother named Tarquin, so they
there
just
is
like
a-
unusual
yeah.
names.
Well, when you were doing the Waltons, it was a long run. Was it like a job? Was it like 9 to 5 kind of thing?
No, more like 7 to 10.
At night?
Long hours. I mean, people who
You
do
mean 7 in the morning till 10 at night?
Yeah,
Oh, it
I
was.
do. Yeah. People who do hour series
Oh.
work very, very hard. They earn
Oh.
every penny. You do not have a life. You don't have a life.
I
really.
thought it was like a
No.
day job, and you could take care of your boys, and you would be home
No,
with
fortunately,
them.
I lived 5 minutes from the studio. And we didn't have cell phones in those days. So
I
very
know.
often they would call you at 7, and you wouldn't work till 4 in the afternoon. And they wouldn't let. Now they're much kinder about letting you go off for a couple of hours if you stay within a certain radius.
Oh, I see.
But back then, it was long hours.
So what happened at that point? Did you get typecast?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
Was that difficult
Not in
then
the theater.
for the rest
Yes,
of?
it was. Yeah. You know, and I have a friend who's a casting. She's actually a friend of my son's, but he asked her. He said, "How come Mom never gets?" And she was very kind and said, you know, her name comes up and they say she's a good actress, but she's Ma Walton. So, and now I'm old Ma Walton.
So now you're gonna be old.
maybe that's behind me.
But that takes me back to the question about your sons. Are they in show business too?
My youngest son is a producer.
Oh, so.
And the other 2 are not in show. My one son is a musician. He's a drummer, but no, they're not. They're very creative, but they're not actually.
Yeah,
in
but
the
they have
theater.
that creative
Yeah.
side. In Nurse, which also won you an Emmy, was a different kind of role, wasn't it? Or was it
A nurturer.
another
Another
nurturer? Oh, that
nurturer,
was the same
you know.
kind of thing. Is
But
that it?
but we were shooting in New York, which was great. But the hours on Nurse were really tough. They were 19-hour days sometimes.
They were
Very tough because we were on location, and the scripts were coming out of Los Angeles, which was difficult to adjust to in New York because very often the writers were writing for L.A., not for New York. And so it was difficult, but I think I'm very proud of some of those shows.
Well, mother or nurse or a nurturer or I don't know.
That's why I love Weezer so much because
Because she's free?
She's a whack job, and I am too. So, I mean, when you
But
play a
people
mother,
don't think about you like that. Isn't
no,
that
I was
right?
always being cast as sort of an authority figure and a sort of stable person. I'm not. I'm not stable at all. I'm a nut job, and so it's
Well,
great.
that's good to know.
It's great fun to do a comedy and be a little out there.
I've always thought you were like much more serious than you're
Oh, God,
than you're
no.
telling us how you
Totally
are
nuts.
today. Do you read a lot?
Oh yeah,
At home?
I do. In fact, most of my education is from reading. My father wouldn't allow us to read comic books, and I remember once some friend gave me a True Romance magazine.
Oh,
Do you remember
yes.
those way
Yes.
back? And I'm in the garage reading this, and my
It's like
father
Playboy,
caught
right?
me, and he pulled it out of my hand. And he said, "Why are you reading this?" And I said, "It's romantic." And he came back and he handed me Emile Zola's Nana, and said, "You want to read romance? Read that."
Oh, is that right?
I did, and it was wonderful.
And from the State Department at
so
that, right?
You know, he was actually working for what was then the OSS.
Oh.
So he's a spook. My father was a spook. He's dead now, so I can talk about it. But, you know, people laugh and say, well, you say he's a writer one minute, he worked for the State Department, he this, he that. He was actually working for the CIA.
Did you guys know that?
No, not in Austria, we didn't. But afterwards we did, and we were sworn to secrecy, you know. It was,
well, how could he keep 6 girls quiet? It must have been tough.
We knew it was life and death, so we didn't talk about it. We sure didn't talk about it. And I'm not sure I knew exactly. I knew he was training resistance fighters, and that wherever he went, I knew I was going to read about it in the newspapers later.
Oh, you did. What about your mom? Sort of how did she handle that?
She went crazy.
It was tough, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It was very hard for her.
Well, besides having 6 girls and then having to have
that alone is enough to make you nuts.
Well, now we're back to Steel Magnolias, Women of Steel.
Yep.
And we'll look for you all around the country.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
Michael. This has been fun.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with Moe Bertran. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. I'm here with actor Moe Bertran, who was born and raised in Brooklyn. He went to a lot of saint schools, Rita, Mary, Adelbert, and then he finished with All Hallows before he skipped college and ran to Hollywood. He's been here acting in TV, film, and on the stage ever since. Moe is the artistic director of Gatto Flacco Productions and has collaborated on several projects with writer David Pumo, who wrote Love Scenes.
Correct.
Which is one of the things that you're in right now.
This is the play I'm doing right now.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, Moe. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Love Scenes is a solo show that David wrote for me quite a few years ago. I play 6 different characters in this particular incarnation of it. Started with 8 characters. It's all about relationship, gay relationship. It is, I play characters aging from 19 to 65.
And how do you do it?
How do I do it? What do you mean?
Costumes,
oh, yes,
voice,
definitely. Costume,
wigs.
voice. No, costumes.
And how do you do it?
I do.
And that way, too.
Costumes. Each character, it starts with a guy in a church. So then when the first monologue ends, it's all monologues, about 15 minutes each. When the monologue ends, I change on stage, in the back of the stage, in a blue light, right into the next person. And there's music involved. Each monologue has a song that kind of coincides with it, which then helps me become the next character.
I see.
We found out as we were doing it.
And who directed it?
Donna Jean Fogel. She's
so
the director
did she help with that transition?
Actually, it originally was directed by Dennis Smith.
Uh-huh.
And that was my idea, to change on stage and become the character.
That play has been all over, hasn't it? San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Dublin, even London. Were you in it? No?
Oh, yes, I was.
Oh, you were? So you traveled to all those cities?
I traveled everywhere with it.
And how does it change when the audience and the venues and, say Dublin?
In Dublin, we thought that it wasn't going to translate the humor, but we didn't have to change anything in Dublin because the people in Dublin said they were raised on American television.
Oh,
so they got a lot of the references and they got a lot of the jokes. London, however, was good.
That was different?
That was a little different. The people there are so reserved. And we had our producer in London say, well, maybe if you switched one joke, give a reference that they know. And that's what we did. We changed it
so they helped you along in that. But San Francisco must have been easy.
Oh, that was amazing.
Was it great?
No, we were there for the Fringe Festival.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
And then we were picked up by the New Conservatory.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And New York, the same kind of thing, probably great audiences.
Great audiences, Fresh Fruit Festival, won awards for
that. Fresh Fruit, I don't know about that one.
That one's a small festival.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it is good. It's very good. It's all, gay and lesbian theater from all over the world.
So you took this play all over.
Oh, yeah. And David travels with me.
And does he give insight into what he wants the character to be, how he wrote the characters?
Yes, he does. When we start working on a new project or, with this project, I start with what I have in mind. And then we take it from there.
Well, you ran away. I say you ran away just because you probably didn't want to go to college.
Yeah.
But was there show business in your family?
Nope.
No?
No.
So
I
did
started
all
when
those
I was 6 years old. I started, and I just thought,
You did?
I want to do this. This is what I want to do. My parents were all into it. I got into Carnegie Mellon.
Oh.
And then decided if I can get into Carnegie Mellon, what's the point?
Oh, you mean so you didn't go?
So I left.
But that had a great art school and a great drama school.
The funny thing is,
It's like, I proved it, I'm in.
I can do it. Yeah, so,
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
great. Yeah. What happened when you got to Hollywood? Was it as easy as you thought?
No.
No.
It wasn't. Hollywood's hard, very hard. So, I did some work. I worked a lot.
Did you study with different teachers?
I studied with Michael Kearns. I ended up studying with, oh gosh, now I can't remember his name. Isn't that funny? The man who was the head of the drama department at Carnegie Mellon.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He was out here?
He was out here.
Oh, that was
so
great.
I studied with
that
him.
was like you went to college.
Without the loans. Exactly. And then I studied with Milton Casalis.
Oh, Milton's fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, you did study
And
over
I
there,
studied
Beverly
with,
Hills Playhouse?
Yeah, in New York with George DiCenzo, who's
so
one of
you
Milton's.
worked a lot
Yeah.
on your craft.
Oh, yeah. I started studying when I was 8.
You were actually, I was going to say, did that Catholic upbringing bring out the drama in you?
Oh, I think it did. Yes, it did. The nuns did.
The nuns brought out the drama.
Yes.
Was it easy to get an agent once you got out here?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It was?
When I got out here, yeah, it was.
Why was that? If
I walked in,
else
I
was
had
so
that New York energy and attitude. I walked into an agency and I said, I'm here, I wanna work, and it was easy.
And so obviously then he sent you out on a lot of auditions, and you did a lot of TV.
I did TV, I did some films, I did a bunch of theater, and then I moved back to New York. But I moved back. Now I'm back in New York now.
You're back in New York?
I
you live in
New
New York
yes.
now. That's right.
I moved back to New York, and that's where the play originated.
So you're doing the play here. At what theater?
At the Cavern Club Theater at Casita del Campo in Silver Lake.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
It's great. Thanks for coming on the show, since you're a New Yorker now again.
You're welcome.
Tell me what Gallo Flacco is.
Gato Flaco is the nickname my grandmother gave me.
Oh, it's yours.
It's me. It's Skinny Cat. And that is our company. David and my company, we produce and, theater or art.
Or anything?
Anything that works, that's good for us.
You're the artistic director.
Yes. Dave is the managing director.
I see.
And we're working on a film right now, actually.
Tell us a little bit about that.
The film is called House of Mayhem.
Oh, yes. Don't tell us about the House of Mayhem, because it came out of the play
Out of Love Scenes.
Anti-Mayhem, right? And
Well,
out
yes,
of Love Scenes.
Yes. Was a character in Love Scenes, Felony Mayhem, who is the last character in the play. And then David wrote a play called Anti-Mayhem.
Yeah, right.
Based on Felony 10 years later.
Oh, this is
And
just...
now it's a progression, and that play won awards, it's been published, and now we're making a movie with Full Circle Films and Gato Flaco Productions called House of Mayhem.
So this takes care of all the things that were from Love Scenes
Exactly.
and what was it? Anti-Mayhem, and it's all morphed into this one thing.
It's one big circle.
So is it still a one-character person? Not in the film.
The film? Oh, no. The play also, Anti-Mayhem, was not one character.
She wasn't?
No, it was Felony. In Love Scenes, Felony, it's her wedding day.
I see.
In Anti-Mayhem, it's 10 years later.
So
Felony,
she's gotten married.
The husband, and then they adopt children from the street. Street kids who were thrown out because they're gay.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So is it
It's a
serious
comedy,
or
but
comedy?
it's serious. It's a serious comedy. It's an issue that's happening right now.
It focuses
Yeah.
on the issues,
On
but
the
you
children.
do it with a...
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're anti?
Yes, I'm Felony. I'm Anti-Mayhem.
You're anti-mayhem, anti-mayhem, anti-mayhem.
Anti-Mayhem, yes, Anti-Mayhem. Yes, it's a play on Anti-Mayhem.
And so it is a play on anti-mayhem.
Yeah.
So did he write everything?
He wrote everything.
And who's directing it?
Gareth Roberts. He's with Full Circle Films. He directed Kill, Kill, Faster, Faster.
Oh, yeah. Did he?
Mm-hmm. And he's directing a movie in November called The Mortician. And then we do, House of Mayhem in the spring.
When David writes, does he write these parts with you in mind?
Yes.
Is he writing them for you?
Yes.
He is writing them.
is.
So you're the...
He's branching off now, and he's writing something...
you're the muse?
Yes. He's writing another solo show for a singer. Scott Snap is his name.
Scott Snap?
Mm-hmm, and he's working with Bob Estes. Bob Estes, the great disco producer, arranger. He works with Barbra Streisand, Donna Summer, Cher, everyone. So David is writing something right now with him. And
just one more thing. There was a film, Burning Bridges.
Burning Bridges is the next solo show.
It's
my next solo show.
Well, how can you keep track of all of this?
Well, see, that comes back to Felony. Because Burning Bridges is Felony's life before Felony became Felony Mayhem.
What was she?
A little boy called Fernando.
Oh, she was Fernando, then she became Felony.
Exactly.
I got it. And so it's like a prequel.
Exactly.
In a way, is it?
Yeah.
Is it already written?
Love Scenes is the sequel. No, it's partially written.
Oh, it's partially.
But now we're busy with the film, and I'm going to be working on Gareth's next film, The Mortician, and so things are going well.
So, and do you take singing, dancing?
Yes, I do. I study singing with Jackie Presti in New York.
Oh, you do? Yeah. So you're like right on
your
game.
Everything.
You have to do everything right.
Well, I know you dance.
Yeah, we don't call it dancing. But we call it going to class. It's part of discipline, isn't it?
It is. It totally is.
Yeah, and I can't sing, but you can sing too?
I can sing too.
Oh,
and in Burning Bridges, I will be singing.
So just give us one character out of Love Scenes.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Just tell us a little bit about one of them.
Describe one of them?
Yeah, or do a little bit.
Well, one of the characters that is the most loved, it seems, is this boy, Tony. He's the kid on the street, and he's the kind of kid who, he meets this mentor, this older gentleman, who takes him in and teaches him all about love. And Tony's, let me see, you want me to do Tony? Tony's like, yo, what's going on, Joan? How you doing, Joan? What's going on? Oh my God, look at this place. I can't believe I'm in here. Oh, I can't wait till I tell Harlan. You remember Harlan, right? Harlan, he's the man who I met like 5 years ago. Yeah, man, you know Harlan, come on.
I don't remember him, but I want to come and meet him. But that's how you just have to switch from one thing to another.
And the writing helps. It's
he puts words in your mouth, doesn't he?
Basically.
Yeah. What about all the time?
No, not all the
time. When you're here and when you're traveling, how do you make your life kind of feel like it's at home? Because you've traveled all over with this play.
A lot of the times I bring my dog.
Oh, that's
We have a little poodle who this time stayed home. But yeah, I do that. And David comes with me. We've been a couple now for going to be 25 years.
Oh, wow. You're kidding.
It's crazy.
You guys look so young.
Well, we met in the 2nd grade.
No, you didn't. He was at St. Rita or St. Mary or one of those saints.
We were altar boys together.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, no.
You were altar boys together. But do you take photographs with you? No. I guess if you have your mate with you, it doesn't.
I have, actually on my phone, the first photo we ever took together. So I have that with me always.
So that's great. And what about cooking when you're out on the road? Do you try to do stuff on your own?
Oh, yeah. I do everything. Right, and when I'm here in LA, I live with a very good friend of mine, Joe and Dane. Hey, Joe and Dane. Yes, and we cook. We do everything. We always try to work it out where we're somewhere where it's like a home, not a hotel.
That's what I was wondering, because that must add to the to your being able to be gone for so long.
Oh yeah, and I love traveling. We both do, so it really doesn't matter.
Well, I'm glad you traveled here.
No, thanks for having me. I'm glad I came.
Yeah, it's really, really wonderful to see how such young energy, but who's been working for so long.
Forever.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.